Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight, Lord, asking your grace and mercy. Lord, thanking you for the sin debt paid on the cross. Father, we ask you to be with our leaders tonight. Let us use intelligence, common sense to lead and guide our school system for the betterment of our students, teachers, and citizens. Lord, we pray these things in your sweet and holy name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll.
Ulrich.
Here.
Dane.
Here.
Bird.
Here.
Creekmore.
Crystal.
Creekmore. Fields. Here. Goins. Here. Heatherly. Here. Here. Lester. Here. Ryder. You have a course.
And we want to welcome Mr. Morgan. Congratulations on your election. Well, Paul, my understanding is you'll be sworn on the 21st, I think it is. So you'll be at our next school board meeting voting. So welcome. We've got a few guests here tonight. Mr. Tim Rogers.
He's with the Eldridge Dental Group.
Come up to the microphone or come up front, introduce yourself, and kind of tell us. Well, they've moved it on us.
I'll speak loud.
It's
Okay.
non-existent.
Machines aren't working, but we have a pretty wall.
So, let me describe our program?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't know if you all know our foundation at all, so really briefly, our history is we were started by Knoxville businessman B. Ray Thompson. Towards the end of his life, he really dedicated philanthropic efforts in two main directions. One was towards cancer research, which is how he ended up with his name on Thompson Mullen Arena and the Thompson Cancer Center. But a lot of people don't know, he also dedicated his philanthropy efforts towards children in poverty. So that's what the Elgin Foundation is. It was originally called the B.R. Thompson Charitable Trust. And early 2000s, the family chose to change the name to the Elgin Foundation because that's where B. Ray Thompson Sr. was born, was Elgin, Tennessee. So that's us. We were originally commissioned to try and create programs to help children in poverty break the cycle of poverty. And so we have four main areas we work. One is in dental health, one is in early academic foundations, another is in child protection programs, and a fourth is discipleship programs. We actually work with some churches throughout the community as well. But for the dental program, real quickly, in the late 90s, our foundation committed some time and research to try and answer the question, what is the biggest unmet health need for children in poverty? And it was really obvious that it was dental health. In fact, if you go to Pew Charitable Trust, who I think is the best research foundation in America, on their website it would still say early dental health is the biggest unmet need for children in poverty. And so we threw our efforts behind that. We tried to create a program that essentially replicates what I'm guessing all of your all's early dental health plan already is already. Those of you who have currently or have had children in the school system, I bet you already schedule dental appointments for them. And then you go get them from school, and you take them to the dentist, and then you take them back to school if they go back to school that day. Well, most school guardians do that. But it's been our discovery that a really big percentage of kids have no adults in their life who do that for them. So basically, the program that we created is we work with the school system to create an opportunity that every kid in the district will get a chance to go receive dental care. And we've also found that helps improve their academic performance. I can show you research that suggests that dental pain is one of the biggest barriers to student learning as well. So basically, our program works with you to try and make that a reality for your kids. We work with you to schedule screenings at the school. We work with you to check. So basically, the commitment that the school district makes is trying to identify someone at each school that serves as a school liaison to work with us. And we help train that person, coordinate that person, even pay a small stipend to that person. And then we work with them basically to run a bunch of different field trips all year long. We get permission from parents, we load kids up on buses, and we take them to a local dental provider. And we at first tried to work with your health department because I know you've had a great working relationship with them. But it looks like they don't have the capacity to serve all the extra kids we'd like to get into the program. So we're probably going to work with another local dental provider, and I'm still working to identify exactly who that's going to be. And we always reinforce the idea that the school system eventually gets to pick the dental provider who the dental partner is. But we're working with you already to try and identify that person. I'll tell you one thing I wanted to show you all. always helpful to put a face of the child to this. I'm certain that what we'll discover in your county is the same as what we've discovered in every other county. When we were first chartered, we were chartered to serve 10 counties. So we started our dental program in 1999, and Scott County, Tennessee was the first place. Well, as of last year, we had a dental program in operation in every school district in all of our 10 counties we were originally chartered to serve. So our foundation board went back to the decision-making table and said, maybe we should expand to new counties. They decided to do so. We identified 10 new counties because you all share a border with Scott. Campbell's one of the 10 expansion counties we went to. So knowing we've never run this program here, I bet we will experience things that we've seen at every other place where we start a program. I'm quite certain that you have a lot of kids in pain right now in Campbell County, and they've never been to a dentist. We ran across this kid, Logan, just last month in one of our other counties, and he had developed an abscess in a tooth in his mouth. And, most abscesses rupture out through the gums. Well, occasionally abscesses try to rupture out through your jaw. And so this was a kid who went through one of our dental screenings, and you can see it almost looks like a worm trying to work its way out of his jaw. That is just a dental abscess. And this child had been in pain for several weeks, and the guardian had just refused to take their child to the dentist.
Man.
And this is, we see this sort of thing in kids in all of our counties, that kids who have been in pain for weeks and months and maybe even longer at times. So this was just about 4 weeks ago. Logan came to a screening in our program. So the same guardian that was willing to take Logan to the dentist was at least willing to sign off paperwork to let us work with the school system to take Logan to the dentist. So we got the necessary consent. We loaded him up on a bus. We took him to the dentist. Got his treatment, got his antibiotics that he's needed. Logan's now has a healthy mouth, a happy smile. So I'm betting his story, there's a lot of kids in your county that have a similar story. We just want to make sure that there's some safety net in place to try to have all those kids get out there. So that's what we do. And I can answer any questions about details of how the program works, but we come in and train your people. And by the way, the kids who qualify for Medicaid, we go ahead and ask the dentist to bill Medicaid. We won't pay bills if there's somebody already obligated to do so. But your kids who are in verifiable economic need but don't qualify for Medicaid, our foundation will pay the dental bills for those kids. So that may be another thing about it.
Even the ones that don't have insurance, maybe?
If it's verifiable economic need, and we usually work with your school system to try to figure out what's the best way that we can verify economic need. Basically, our cutoff is anybody that's above 185% on the federal poverty scale, we ask parents to just take responsibility for their own kids. They don't care. But the kids who are below that and don't qualify for Medicaid, we pay them.
This is just for children that have dental problems, or do you cover like cleanings and things like that?
We cover full dental treatment. So when they do the screenings, every kid gets a designation as a class 1, 2, or 3. Class 1 are a really small group. It's maybe 8 to 10% of the kids. But class 1, I mean, that child is in pain right now. So we need to get them to the dentist as quickly as possible. Class 2 means there's obvious decay that needs treatment, but if it goes a week or a couple of weeks, it still won't hurt the child. Class 3 means all they need is preventive care. And so over the course of the year, we try and get all those kids. Our main goals are to get above 80% of the class 1s and 2s because we know they really need treatment. We're probably running around 60% or so in class 3s, but they still are part of the program.
I have a question. Is there a cost to the school system? And also, how is it handled? Do we have a contract with you?
Yeah, you'll have a contract that you may vote on tonight, but basically there's no extra financial cost. There's just a little extra time commitment from some of your people to help run the program.
Yeah.
When do you expect this to start?
That's one of the,
Well, as soon as you all approve it, we'll send in our dental director.
A, B, C, or D.
Work with your people to schedule training. You need to get your liaisons in the training and start, as soon as we have our first meeting, we'll be able to get this started.
It's B, Mike.
What kind of, the phases of it, we always schedule the screenings first, because the screenings tell us what problems we have. Then we start scheduling transports after that.
You mentioned training one individual at each school. What actually you're training them to do? What was their
Just the
responsibility?
protocols of the program.
Okay.
Just how to schedule the screenings, and really your liaison at the school It's almost like a school mom that's scheduling a bunch of dental field trips for your kids. So that school liaison stays in touch with your dental provider and says, I've got 10 class 1s that we need to get to your office as soon as possible. So there's just a little extra time and scheduling commitment for me.
And we have some nurses in our schools. I don't know if that's a good fit or not.
Yeah, we're just going to work with the school leadership to figure out who the best fit is to do that. That's what we're working with.
But it's an item on here to vote on, so we'll get to that item. Any other questions? Sounds like a pretty good program.
Gives you any comfort, we have been doing this for 18 years, so hopefully we've worked out about all the kinks. And we have an active program in Scott County, Anderson County, Knox County, and Blount County. And we anticipate having one in Claiborne and Fentress.
Which that's where Mr. B. Ray was from, is Scott County, wasn't it?
That's right.
That's right.
Elgin, Tennessee.
Is this something just preferred for elementary still, or is it middle school too?
We just serve elementary school.
Elementary, okay.
Yeah, our original charter said the youngest, poorest, and most vulnerable kids. What's that?
We don't cover high school. Elementary.
Yeah.
Sounds like a no-brainer. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you all.
Lori Hopeful. Lori Hopeful. Ms. Hopeful. Who's she?
Anyway, my name is Lori Hopeful, and I live here in Campbell County in Carroll. And through many conversations with Terry Woodward and Michelle White from the Animal Shelter, through social media and things, we have really this past year kind of gotten involved with some of the situations here in Campbell County with animal abuse, animal dumping, animal neglect, and we really started to think about how can we change this in the future. Over 200 animals a month are taken, either surrendered or dropped off at the animal shelter. And that's certainly far, far, far too many. As we all know, we see them running the streets and people dump them in fields and neighborhoods trying to get rid of them. So what we try to do is talk to elementary school children, have a really fun, interactive program, and talk about responsible pet ownership, whether it's a dog, cat, goat, a pig, a horse, whatever it may be. Talk about how the next generation maybe can take a look better in this situation for our county, for our community, for our shelter. The shelter now is endlessly and tirelessly at making sure rescue groups throughout this state and other states take our access. We have a wonderful newer organization called Spay Tennessee County, Spay Neuter Tennessee County, which is a nonprofit that has financial aid to families who maybe are not being able to afford the cost of spaying and neutering their animals. There's a lot of information we'd like to give to the kids, and we'd also like to, depending on the school system, and whether it's allowed or not, maybe even bring in some rescue pets that we know are just very comfortable around large amounts of children and comfortable around that. Make it fun for the kids, but teach them that there's some alternatives other than just the ongoing problems of the animals in the area. And that's it pretty much in a nutshell. Any questions?
You go into the schools.
We'd like to, whether it's a classroom situation or an assembly situation where there's multiple groups, however each school system would want. I just really don't know what the criteria would be. We'll work with any criteria that each school system wants to. But again, it just wants to be kind of a fun kid thing, but I think we can maybe change some minds. You know, sometimes children only know what they've seen, their parents do, and when it comes to this, maybe we can change some minds and maybe have a little bit more responsible ownership in the future.
Danny, how would it work with the liability?
Well, I think it depends on the entire activities that are taking place. Obviously, if we're talking about well-trained animals, I don't think that you're going to have a problem, whereas if you're dealing with animals that haven't been trained, such as like a an animal that is directly from the shelter is going to be a little bit more of an issue with liability that you'd want to talk with your carrier about. But so long as we're talking about well-trained animals, I think that you're probably in pretty good shape.
How do y'all assure that?
Yes, I can assure that the people that we've talked to right now, actually, they would not be shelter animals coming into the school systems. They would be personal pets of people. Alice Miller has a belly pig pet that she would like to bring. However the school system wants it and works it, but it would be an animal that would definitely be comfortable around children, large amounts of children, perhaps, and so that there wouldn't be any issues. We certainly don't want any problems with a bite or anything like that, and I wondered how that would work, but
It would not be a bad idea to talk with your carrier or representative of the carrier just to be sure, going forward, but I don't think so.
Is it a pilot program? Has it happened?
it has not happened yet, no.
Any question?
Just one question. What do you have in mind as far as a time frame? Are you thinking about just this year or next school year or an ongoing? What is your time?
We'd like to start this year if possible, maybe after the first of the year. But we like it to be an ongoing thing. We assume that it would be a once-a-year type of thing with each class. And so we would be interested in ongoing years. And we could probably have the program be as short as an hour, maybe up to 2 hours, depending on what all we want to, how much time the school wants to give us.
Why don't you get the information that you have and get it to Mr. Nyford, our director. He'll get to the attorney and our insurance carrier, and we'll go from there.
Okay, right. Appreciate your time. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Any other guests?
No, that's it.
Okay, can I get approval of consent agenda?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion, have a second?
Second the motion.
Second, any discussion? Call the roll.
Warwick,
Yes.
Bain,
Yes.
Byrd,
Yes.
Creekmore, Fields, Goins, Heatherly,
Yes.
Lester, Ryder. Motion carries.
Thank you. Approval of the regular agenda, we have an addendum. We have a item 3D, E, F, and item 8A, B, C, and D. Can I get an approval for the agenda with the addendum?
Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Have a motion, have a second? Have a second, any discussion? Call the roll.
Warwick,
Yes.
Bain,
Yes.
Byrd,
Yes.
Creekmore, Fields, Goins, Heatherly,
Yes.
Lester, Ryder. Motion passed.
Thank you. Comments from chair. I only have a couple things. We received some information from Dale this past week. One was the information on the quitclaim deed on Davis Chapel, which we'll discuss in a moment. The other kind of dealt with the meeting we had with the city last month. And Danny, you want to take a second and let's talk about that section on the paving. They've asked for approximately $57,000, I believe was the bill. Is that right, Johnny?
I think that's correct, yes.
The way I interpreted the letter was as long as it benefited the school system, we could do that. I went up there and personally looked at the site, and I think it's needed. I think it's definitely needed. And I think that the facility definitely gets a improvement out of it. Makes it safer, gives better access. I don't know if the members from up there in that district has looked at it. And have you looked at it, Clint?
I haven't had a chance to look at it.
You currently only have one access road in or out of it.
Yeah. I think it's very well needed. I don't know how much we want to put into the project. I know that there's very little property that we own that if we just pave that section, it would be very minor, but
The length of this paving project we're talking about is about half a mile, Anybody know?
I would think it's a half a mile.
Yeah, it's not, probably not even half a mile.
And the cost we're going to be.
It's $57,000.
Participate in any of that?
The city of La Follette has asked us, the agreement was made, there was sort of a gentleman's agreement, is what they said, with previous director, is that correct?
That's what they told
And
us, yes.
I don't never recall the conversation, Johnny, do you? And I don't know if I would want to vote to spend the entire $57,000, but I do think that we should participate. I think that there is a definite need. And but do you have any thoughts on it?
Once again, it's just got to be with the written consent of the owner that it is going to be for the benefit of the students. That's got to be a key part of the fact, and that's what he put in there as far as the example of having two pieces of property where the students were walking from one to the other. It needs to be for the benefit of the students as opposed to, a trash truck run and that type of thing.
No, it's definitely benefit. Jeff, you have any concerns or?
Whatever y'all decide to do, you need to make sure you have written documentation about exactly how it's going to enter a benefit to the students. You need to vote on it in the public meeting, and you need to include in whatever action you take exactly how much money you're going to participate, and that needs to be included in your actions so that there will be a paper trail for the auditors to review. Because as you know, practically, you're not supposed to spend county money on city roads. I think that maybe, I don't know if I heard Clint directly, but I think he said something about, is the county going to participate? Absolutely not, because we can't spend county dollars
It's a city
inside
road,
city
right?
city
Okay, I'm
road.
sorry, I said county, I meant city street.
Let's do this, Johnny, since that's your venue up there, would you talk to Mayor Stanfield and the council and let's have a meeting with them, sit down with them and see how much money we want to contribute, see what we can work out. Because I do think it's a benefit.
One more thing I'd mention is you want to be sure that in whatever agreement that is crafted, that you make sure you're not assuming any liability for whatever accidents might occur on the road or the maintenance of the road into the future. That's something that you really need to have Mr. Cantrell and Mr. Troutman nail down.
Yeah, they had a concern with the Trapman family, but I think that we're going to add some screening or something to solve that problem. I think it's needed. I've looked at it. I think it's a good project. So, Johnny, if you'll coordinate that for us, we'll have a meeting with
You want them to come to the meeting, or are we going to meet with them at the city, or?
Wherever.
You talking about the full board or just the committee?
No, I think the full board needs to be there, yeah. When did they get sworn in?
December. Be soon, so.
You coordinate that, okay? Get that worked out.
Yeah, Brent and Sharon and Faye, we'll work together with them. We'll set something up.
Yeah, I think we need to participate, and as to what tune, we need to negotiate that. David Chappell, like I said, we'll get to that in a moment. Do have one thing that's been bothering me. I was hoping Dale would be here tonight, but he's not. I don't know how much Danny remembers all this. We're still getting a lot of feedback in the community over the time clocks and the stuff that we have implemented, and a lot of blames going around, a lot of supervisors making comments about director of schools and board members creating these problems. And what I recall and what I remember is that it costs us $153,000 to pay these folks back on this back pay. And at that point, we didn't have a choice based on the labor board. We had to do something. And we installed the time clocks, and they're going to have to get used to them. And the blame needs to stop. And is that not the way it happened, Mr. Marlowe?
You had back pay issues, and from a finance director standpoint, I commend the action taken and direction by Director of School Night for the action taken by the board. As you all know, the main problem was you had zero accountability on your previous time records. Zero. And they were not correct.
and you had different choices about how you were going to go about creating a system to make them correct. But if I was in the director of schools chair and I was here and you had all these satellite schools and automation providing the resource, I would have went the same direction that he did and installed time clocks to assist me with that documentation. But whether you use time clocks or whether you don't, you absolutely have no choice but to pay people for the hours they work and document the hours they work. That's where you were.
We were in a situation where we were paying people in advance for work that they hadn't performed.
An impermissible use of public funds.
And I would hope that the supervisors and the principals in the school would please tell these employees they're going to have to get used to it.
And, Mr. Chairman, there's obviously no one who would be trying to do or implement a procedure that would be to effectuate a punishment on the employee. It's not the case. I mean, we don't sit around and dream up things to try to make it harder on people. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that they get paid correctly. If they work overtime, they need to be paid overtime. And vice versa. If they don't work the hours, they don't need to be paid for the hours. So it's not like somebody trying to sit down and figure out how we can make it difficult on somebody tomorrow. That's just not true. If that perception is being displayed out there or augmented in the community, that's just wrong. Absolutely.
One of our measuring tools was that everyone would make the same amount of money, if not more.
And everyone in the school system makes at least the same amount of money, and in most situations, they all make more money because for the first time ever, all of your employees that are full-time employees that have a holiday that falls during their scheduled work cycle, they get paid for that holiday, and that wasn't true previously. So it was to their benefit. Now, they'll only be paid as the events unfold as opposed to this notion of trying to average pay and pay in advance and all this other kind of stuff. It's just, it's not practical. You simply can't continue. It should have never been done to begin with, and the reason it's difficult now is breaking any cycle of what people get used to go to the correct thing.
We're not trying to punish anybody.
No, absolutely not.
And I hope that the supervisors that's here tonight will please go out of your way to inform these employees that we're not trying to hurt them, okay? Stop the rhetoric. We're tired of listening to it.
Excuse me. I have a question. Maybe Mr. Nidifer could answer that. Where do we stand right now on the number of time machines that are being used?
I think, and Jack can clarify that, but I believe we have all time clocks set up.
We don't have them all in yet.
Okay.
We wait till daylight savings time to make sure we have them right because the clocks we're setting up. We should have them done by the end of next week. It takes about an hour to 2 hours. We've got to register everybody, make sure the fingers, and train them on how to properly use them. And then go back and show the people how to pull up a report as well. So by the end of next Friday, we should be ready to go.
But the ones that you do have installed, you've got to,
15 installed right now.
and those glitches are slowly going away.
Yeah, what we did, we started in the smallest schools where we had the fewest people, so we could find out where the glitches were. And then we worked with food service because the ladies in food service are in water, chemicals, and everything all the time to make sure that we have no problem working out.
And the ones that are installed are being used? Is that what you're saying? Okay, thank you.
There is no punishment, so I want to, respectfully, I think discussion stop. Go on, move on.
I want to follow up on what they just said, Mr. Knight. Are we ensuring that all of them are being used consistently the same way at all schools?
Yes, we're working on it. It's a work in progress. And Jack and I, when we started installing these time clocks, like I've got a burnt finger, well, they had just give me a number because if your fingers are messed up on the ends, well, you can't clock in or you've got to use a different one. But we are having time sheets submitted to us along with the time clock sheets, and we check those, and then we send the actual payroll sheets to Mr. Marlowe's office. Yes, and it's still a little learning curve.
Understood, but all principals are being told how to implement the process the same way.
Yes.
That's what I wanted to make sure I'm hearing. That some may not have heard or
doing different things, and I think that's the worst thing that could happen. If this school's doing one thing, this school's doing a different, it's going to be.
And we'll have a faculty meeting or principals meeting on Thursday of this week coming, probably, to have a Q&A time.
But folks, it's not a punishment, okay? Last thing I've got is the committee I passed out the list last month. Mr. Morgan, you weren't here. Which committees would you like to serve on?
I'd like to go present.
Was there another one? Of course, everybody can attend the meetings. You don't have to be on the committee to come. Those two specifically? Okay, thank you. Okay, that's all I have. Director's monthly report.
Well, I just want to thank the board for being able to attend the TSBA conference. Several of us went to Fair Labor Standards Act, which evolved in some of the things that we just talked about. Employee students and the First Amendment was a good session that we attended. And also I went to one on the state is going to set cut scores on the new testing programs. And it looks like it's going to be, I'd say, a little tougher than it's been in the past. They're even talking about setting it at the ACT mark of 23. And I'll just kindly stop there, and later on we'll discuss these more in depth.
Okay. Did you put in our packet the buses and all that stuff this time? Do we have any updates on?
It's April 6th.
You've got everything in a blue folder.
It's in blue folder. How did it look, Mr. Rutherford?
You know, it has a couple of questions out there from the last time I had a meeting until this time.
And where are we on the purchase of the other bus?
We had to get a purchase order actually today to get a Kelly Blue Book for buses to document. You've got to have 3 or 4 different resources to document what price you're going to pay. So as soon as we get that back, Steve's got everything else ready to go.
And the maintenance was, or heat and all that stuff working good? No problems?
Starting Monday, we have hired a person who has some HVAC certifications, and also we have hired a 29-hour person without benefits that is coming from our local TCAT in Knoxville, that we'll see how that works out. But he is trained and getting ready to graduate, so we thought that would be a good young hire to try to build employees for the future.
Any questions for Mr. Nidifer? Okay, we'll move on. We'll recognize Mr. Marlowe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First item of business is the review of the monthly financial reports for the month ending September 30th. General purpose school fund, cash for the trustee, slightly over $3.9 million in cash. As you can see, that's much improved from the July reports I gave you. A couple pages over, you see your revenue realization. You're at 18.5% of the $40.3 million estimate. Obviously, no local taxes coming in yet. You won't start seeing that till October. The period ending October 31st. Did talk with Monty Bullock. Record year on taxes for the month of October.
Wow.
Largest ever. So it should look pretty good. Your appropriation utilization, 23%. You've done 9.3, almost 9.4, the 40.76 million. So you're at around 5 points, but again, that's all because of the timing issue on the local taxes. Essentially the same as they were this time last year. The Federal Private School Fund cash trustee, $219,000 in cash. That means we're using our cash balance to the tune of about $280,000. We have $500,000 cash balance there that we stick in the fund to float it. The revenues and appropriations are balanced at 22.1% each, and that's what you want to see in your 142 fund. The final fund, Central Cafeteria Fund, cash trustee, $408,000. As you can see, it's got a $700,000 plus fund balance that burns through cash the first couple months, just like every other fund you got. Your revenues at 19.8, almost 20%. Your appropriations 25. You have to buy the food, obviously, before you sell the food. This is for the month ending September, so you'll see some leveling of that in October and November. We'll keep an eye on it. It should be okay. Again, it's comparable to what you had same period last year.
Any question?
Kind of one real quick. Jeff, do you know about what we got in capital outlay fund right now? Do you know?
I do not. I do not. I can tell you in aggregate total, but I can't tell you in pieces. If you go over and look at on your report for the general purpose school fund on the appropriations section, second page, 76100, which would be 4th account number from the bottom. You have a budget of $585,678. You've been used or you've encumbered or used $167,000 to date, so 28.5%. So you're slightly above a quarter's worth through the first quarter.
Yeah, and along those same lines, I was going to mention a moment ago, we're going to have in about 2 weeks, so sometime before Thanksgiving, we're going to sit it down with Mr. Brady's office and discuss our Caryville project along with the capital needs that we've been discussing on a big scale, roll all those projects in together. But I'll see a calendar anywhere. But I'll get with Gail. I'll get with Gail tomorrow this week.
And we do, Mike, on that same line, we're trying to schedule a building committee meeting for next week, and we're looking at Monday night, but we'll make sure and get everybody informed, and Clint's the chairman.
Well, it may work. We may work it in then.
Yeah.
Be ready by Monday to do that?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
We can wait about another few days if we want to do it all together.
Was it Friday you said you could meet? Thursday?
I can meet any day next week
Okay.
except Tuesday.
And Crystal and Brent?
What days?
Okay.
I don't know how soon you can get down the time, but if they could, we work it all one day.
I'll talk to Brady's office. 6 o'clock. Is that fine with everybody?
Yeah.
Monday.
Is everybody else?
Is that good?
Good. Steve, you and Crystal good with 6 Monday?
This coming Monday, right? And send everybody a text. Remind us if you don't mind, please. Yep.
Mr. Chairman, you'll have to kind of give us an update from the finance office, because that Monday night meeting is also the night of the...
That's right. Well, they won't change it. That's a commission meeting.
I don't necessarily have to be in your meeting. I just need to know the score when you get to that.
Well, I'd rather not do that. What other day works next week?
I can meet any day.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Wednesday's church night. What about Thursday?
I'm good. Everybody else?
Thursday? 6 o'clock Thursday?
What day is that?
Jeff, you good with that?
24th.
The 24th?
Okay.
No, it's the 17th.
17th.
Crystal, you good with that?
I have a finance committee meeting, FNS meeting at 5 o'clock.
We'll have it at
on
6.
That Thursday, so that would work out good.
We'll have it 6 o'clock. I'll get a hold of Roy in the morning.
Central office.
Keith.
Just make it Central office here. What's the best place to make it out?
Your meeting's here, isn't it?
It is.
Let's just have it at central office. It's more informal and better. Everybody good with that? Next Thursday, 6 o'clock. Okay. That works great.
Good.
Okay.
Need a motion to approve those
Okay, I need a motion to approve your financials. Got a motion?
Second the motion.
Second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Warwick.
Yes.
Bain.
Yes.
Byrd.
Yes.
Creekmore. Fields. Goins. Heatherly.
Yes.
Lester. Roger. Motion.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, next item is the budget amendments. We have 3 budget amendments, one in each of the funds. General Purpose School Fund, Resolution 1, Federal Project School Fund, Resolution 2, Cafeteria Fund, Resolution 3. If you want me to read them in detail, I will, or if you already had a chance to review them.
I've reviewed them. How do y'all feel about it? Take them all together?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve all 3.
A motion to approve all 3. To have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Horrick,
Yes.
Bain,
Yes.
Byrd,
Yes.
Creekmore, Fields, Goins, Heatherly,
Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Reider. Motion passes.
Thank you.
We have two bids to review. The first one is for pest control in the 14 schools and 8 concession stands. The bids were solicited for on October the 7th, received and opened on the 27th. Received bids from two bidders, Mitchell's Pest Control, $1,320 a month, Cook's Pest Control, $990 a month. Recommendation is Cook's Pest Control at $990 is the lowest and best bid. It's also the recommendation of Mr. Whittle.
Can I get a motion approved?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve both.
Second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Horrick,
Yes.
Bain,
Yes.
Byrd,
Yes.
Creekmore, Fields, Goins, Heatherly,
Yes.
Lester, Reider. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next item is on sale of some surplus equipment. It's listed for on September the 22nd, received and opened on October the 26th. Received bids from two bidders, the Harbor and Newcomb Community Center. The Harbor bid on items 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7. They were the high bidder. That totals $295. And Newcomb Community Center was the high bidder on item 8, $150.
What's the
Also a
pleasure?
recommendation of Ms. Ms. Woodard, the school nutrition supervisor.
What's the pleasure?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion? Second. Second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Horrick,
Yes.
Bain,
Yes.
Byrd,
Yes.
Creekmore, Fields, Goins, Heatherly,
Yes.
Lester, Reider. Motion passes.
Thank you.
The next item is request permission to bid a couple of items, roof for Elk Valley Elementary School, item 1, and some outdoor dining furniture for CCHS, Jacksboro Middle, and Elk Valley.
Can I get a motion to have a motion? Have a second. Second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Horrick,
Yes.
Bain,
Yes.
Byrd,
Yes.
Creekmore, Fields, Goins, Heatherly,
Yes.
Lester, Reider. Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, although we have no acceptance of renewal or contracts, I do want to make a mention to you all. You're in desperate need to revision of your bus driver owner contract. As you guys go through your route revisions and all that, you desperately need to change the format of your contract.
Let's go through that a second.
Well, number one with a bullet, your contract presently has no cancellation clause. Zero. The term is essentially undefined except it says for the school year, whatever. So if in fact you had a need to terminate somebody that wasn't performing, presently your contract doesn't have any ability to be terminated. It's insanity. The next problem with the contract is, and Sharon and I have always agreed on this, the contract is for services. That's what you're doing. But the owner owns the bus. The owner doesn't have any rights whatsoever to sell his route. And that needs to be defined explicitly in the contract, that if, you're going to sell your bus, and it does say in your contract presently that they've got to coordinate that with your maintenance or your transportation supervisor and blah, blah, blah. But, all they can sell is the bus. They can't sell the route. And you need to make sure that you adamantly express that in your next revision of the contract. Those are two very material weaknesses in your present structure. So you just really need to revise that contract.
Of course, we've got this year's contract been signed.
Yes.
We'll put the burden on you to work with Mr. Cantrell on that verbiage, if you don't mind.
I don't care, but one of the things that your contract presently says, the last time I tried to help with the bus driver contract, the Board of Education got rather upset with me, and the bottom of the contract specifically says that the only involvement I have with the contract is under the provision of TCA 521, whatever, I have to sign all contracts, and that's my limited involvement. I don't have any say-so any other way whatsoever, and that was put in there specifically for a reason. And, I don't care to help you, but,
Well, that was another board, another time.
Okay.
Does anybody on this board have a problem with Mr. Marlowe helping us with this? Okay, so you're going to help us with this?
I will help you then.
All right, thank you.
That gets us down to Ms. Fay.
I have one thing for Ms. Fay. Last month, the board voted to give the sheriff the mobile home up on the hill, Jacksboro Station. He has decided to go a different route, so he doesn't want it. We need to auction that thing off some way, Jeff. I don't think we need to go through the hassle of moving it. We just need to sell it, let somebody move it themselves.
Well, Mr. Chairman, what you'll have to do is you'll have to declare it surplus.
Okay.
And then you'll have to define whether you want a sealed bid process done, which I can do for you.
Okay.
Or if you want an auction done. If you decide you want to go an auction route, then you want to make sure that you make the auction be a buyer premium auction such that you get 100% of the proceeds and that the auctioneer would only receive the buyer premium.
Yeah, I think it just needs to be sealed.
Me too. That's what I would recommend.
Everybody good with that? So can we have that as an item next month? Keep it on the agenda. Can you get it ready for us?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you want to, of course, I guess you have to have a suspension of rules. If you wanted to add it in now, you can declare it surplus and that you want to solicit sealed bids for it. I mean,
Where would I add it?
You would just be over here, well, you could do it right here at item G under my section, we find.
G?
Yeah.
So under G, we're going to add to asked.
Suspend the rules.
You got to suspend the rules first.
Okay, let's have a motion to suspend the rules.
So moved.
Have a motion, have a second.
Second.
You have to vote on that, yeah?
Yes, you do.
All right, call the roll.
Ford,
Yes.
Dane,
Yes.
Birch,
Yes.
Creekmore,
I'll
Fields,
say we're not moving it.
Goins, Heatherly.
Yes.
Lester. Ryder.
Okay. Now it needs the verbiage.
Motion to declare the mobile home, and you'll have to get me the title, the number, whatever you want to call it, mobile home surplus, and that you're going to have a sealed bid process to accept bids.
Okay, and we'll get you the VIN number and all that. And you need to put in there that the purchaser will move it himself.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Can I get a motion to approve that?
I'll make that motion.
Motion second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Ford,
Yes.
Dane,
Yes.
Birch,
Yes.
Creekmore, Fields, Goins, Heatherly,
Yes.
Lester. Ryder. Motion passes.
If you get a chance, everybody, go out and look at the new shooting range. It's nice. They did a great job. Really nice. It's up behind the sanitation field. Ms. Fay Comer, we have hard copies, I understand.
Yes, technical difficulties today, so I apologize for the short notice. Y'all can go those, if you have any questions, you can call me tomorrow or email. And again, I apologize for the short notice.
Well, you can't help
If anyone's
something.
Dropbox is not working, I understand Mr. Ryder cannot access, or Steve, we're going to try to set yours up tomorrow, Mr. Kennedy and myself. Please let me know, and we'll try to get that straightened out.
Any questions for Ms. Fay? Thank you, Ms. Fay. Items for action, we've added some things it looks like here. We've added A, B, C, and D. A, approve the following software program for use in our schools: the Odyssey Ware, Easy CBM, Ames Web, Discovery Ed, Renaissance Learning, AR Reading, and AR Math, ClassWorks, Aspen Student. Is that what that is?
Management system.
Yeah. School Messenger, Reading Eggs. What is Reading Eggs? Study Island and Brain Pops. Jack, you have any comments on any of this software?
That's the stuff that we are using in the schools. They decided the software to use. That's not all being used at the present time.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Have a motion, have a second? Any discussion? Call the roll.
Oric,
Yes.
Bain,
Yes.
Verge,
Yes.
Creekmore, Fields, Goins, Heatherly,
Yes.
Lester, Rodner. Motion passed.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
before we leave that item, just for the record, because we went through this on the honesty where just because the board's approved doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't a solicitation process will have to be done or some type of verification sole source provider or some combination of the two.
Are they a sole source provider?
Odyssey Ware ended up being, I don't know anything about the rest of them presently.
Jack, do you know?
So just for, I don't want you to know that just because it's been approved, that doesn't necessarily mean that we would stop spending
All
them.
right, thank you. B, consider approving the Elgin Dental Foundation. Gentlemen, put the presentation on. Is he still here?
No, he's
He's
gone.
left. What's the pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the Elgin Dental Foundation program.
Well, she beat you. I'm sorry. I'll let you second. Any questions? Call the roll.
Oric,
Yes.
Bain,
Yes.
Verge,
Yes.
Creekmore, Fields, Goins, Heatherly,
Yes.
Lester, Rodner.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. C, consider approving animal care program for elementary schools. We heard the presentation. Do we want to approve it this month, or do we want to, definitely want to pursue it? I think our attorney needs to review some documents.
I think that would be good, and I think it would be good for there would be a phone call to the carrier just to be sure.
And is she still here?
No, but I've got her email.
Okay. So that'll be an item for next month, okay? Folks, we'll move back to next month. Ms. Gail, don't let me forget that.
Do we need to take action on that since it's on our agenda?
The action would be to move it to
make
next
a
month.
motion to
move it to the next month.
I make that motion that we move item, what is
C.
it? C to next month's
Have a
meeting.
second? Second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Oric,
Yes.
Bain,
Yes.
Verge,
Yes.
Creekmore, Fields, Goins, Heatherly,
Yes.
Lester, Rodner. Motion passed.
Thank you. Item D, consider approving Beech Tree Manor to use Jellicoe Elementary School as a safe haven. Ms. Crystal, you want to explain?
Yeah, I think it's always been used as a safe haven in case of a natural disaster, because it's just right behind the walking distance to the, we just need to get more approval to make it legal.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Call roll.
Oric,
Yes.
Bain,
Yes.
Verge,
Yes.
Creekmore, Fields, Goins, Heatherly,
Yes.
Lester, Rodner. Motion passed.
Thank you. Clears up our addenda.
Did you do these? And trip?
We handled that through the consent, right?
Okay. Gotcha.
And brings us down to item discussion. Who wants to be the spokesperson for the Davis Chapel community? You would like to come up? Yes, sir. Were you the gentleman I talked to last night? Okay, yes, sir. Okay.
Building back, we'd like you to sell it back to us for $1.
I don't think that we can do that. Has to go through some type of auction. We can't give away property. It has to go through certain channels. Now, an issue got brought up today. I was told that Reed Trapman did a lot of deed research for us back several years ago. And I put a call in for Reed today, and he's not called me back. But there seems to be an understanding that there's a clause that the original owner of the property, when they transferred the property to the Board of Education to build the school on it, that there was a reversionary interest in that deed to where it would go back to the original family. And, the heir, okay, that's right. And we need to find that out first. Reed needs to.
That's what I was always told on my forefathers, that it was given by Davis and for the benefit of the community.
Yes, sir.
And if it was not for the benefit of the community, then it come back to there.
Okay. As far as the other, the board has, this board and the past board has been in the position of getting rid of property off of our books. We've sold a lot of property, and we can sell this property too. We need to find out about that deed first. What was the reason that the trustees decided to give it back in the first place?
If I can speak on it, I was approached by Mr. Myers, who was involved with the board. It's mainly, a lot of them's older, some of them's deceased, but it's my understanding that this group wants to have it as a community center. I would much rather be in favor than that than sell it at auction, then it become a used car lot or whatever. So I hate to disagree with you on the statement you made, but now Stony Fork, we did a community, took that building over, which it didn't work out, which is different in this case. I don't see why the board, once that the deed comes back clear that we can't work out with the community, and I know most of them in that community, and it's a beautiful area, one of the prettiest areas in our county right there, and I would hate to see it go up for auction when we've got willing people in the community that's willing to step up. But to answer your question, basically a lot of them deceased and just grown old and just wanted to, they're just not able to take care of it.
Yeah. And you misunderstood me. I don't want to sell the property if they want to use it. There's certain things, what is it, 501(c)(3).
We don't want to use it, we want to sell it back to us for $1.
We can't.
We can't sell it, but we can do a lease agreement, if I understand right, with the community.
We can.
And it reverts back to us in the event that you all default.
Just like it was, but you have to go through, explain the 501(c)(3) or whatever.
Well, in general, when you're dealing with, it has to be with a nonprofit entity. As soon as you start doing it for a for-profit entity or for individuals who might be using it for a for-profit purpose, then you're walking a thin line. So you want to do the 501(c)(3) is a nonprofit entity that's approved by the IRS as doing nonprofit work.
Yeah. So what we will do is do what? Do what?
Go ahead.
Same as like if it's Stony.
Right.
So they had to have their entity in place first.
Okay. Is there not one in place now with the current people that's got it? Why can't they use it?
The people who have it in their name would have to go about changing that over.
Miss Nash, Truline, she would be willing to work with you to do that, because the last conversation I had with her last week is that she didn't know of anyone that was willing to step up, but if you all are willing to step up, then all that's already in place for you all to do that.
We need to check and make sure that the annual report and everything's been updated at the state level, Secretary of State.
Has to be in good standing.
Yeah, in good standing. I'll do that tomorrow myself.
But either way, it can be worked out.
Yeah, and we have no problem, we don't want the property
I think
back.
the majority of the board would agree that the community, if they're willing to step up, we need to work with them.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, according to this document here, it's called Davis Chapel Community Association. The officers are President Stephanie G. Fraley, Vice President Edward C. Nash, Secretary Betty M. Strange, Treasurer Truline H. Nash. Board of Directors is Ned Coble, Roger McCarty, Joyce Morrison, and Gerald Myers.
Yeah. And if I can get your telephone number, you don't mind giving it to me? Go ahead. Okay. You can give it to me before we leave then. I will check the state tomorrow, Secretary of State, and see if that is still good standing. If not, y'all can update that and get it in good standing, but we don't have a problem with it, okay?
And I apologize, you were right, you said we couldn't sell it. We worked out an agreement with the presidents in Stony Fork.
That's right.
Yeah, and I apologize, I
Yeah.
misspoke.
But,
Mr. Chairman, if in fact you got this route, it would appear to me that all they would have to do is rescind their letter here.
yeah, as long, and make sure everything's active, yeah. And that's kind of what happened at Oak Grove, all that expired, and put yourself in the situation that it automatically reverted back to we don't want to be in the business of owning property, except the ones we got schools sitting on. So you give me your number in a minute, and we'll check on it tomorrow. Legal matters?
That was the thing, if we were having a difficult time contacting Ms. Fraley, so if we just have the updated contact information so we can work with them on whatever, if it's a lease or if it's whatever documents we need to prepare.
Okay, and if you would, talk to Mr. Cantrell, and please have him to get with Mr. Nidifer this coming week and get us an update on this Anderson situation. Is that Anderson, is that correct? Yes. From the Jellicoe area. There's a lot of talk coming out of that area over there, and it needs to be fixed.
Certainly.
Okay, you got anything else?
No, that's all that I have.
Recognize school board members. Mr. Goins, do you have anything? Lisa? Brent? Sharon?
Yes, last month I'd asked for a student by zip code, and I think I'd asked Tammy to get it. Can we still get that before I think you said it was going to be discussed at the next meeting. Just for general information, I'd like to look and see what's going on, and you could email that to us. Thank you. That's all I have.
And Gail, don't let me forget about that meeting next week, okay? Mrs. Faye.
We had an exciting time at our convention. There was a lot of good information, like Larry said, that we brought back, and it's going to benefit not just our board, but our whole county. And the leadership conference was really good. We covered attracting and developing and retaining quality teachers, and logic model for instructional leadership, and creating a great place to work. That was a great conference. And then in our delegate assembly, Sharon was there, and I'm going to ask her if she would share a little bit about the delegate assembly.
Our board should be very proud because Ms. Fay is going to be, she's the president-elect of Tennessee School Board Association, and next year she will be in line to be president.
Yeah, we're going to have her a little... Here in a very few weeks, we're going to have a little party for her. Invite everybody to come to Central Office.
She's president-elect. She starts in January, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah,
in
but
January.
we're still going to have her little thing this year.
Yes, okay. And the other thing is, during the delegate assembly, there were a lot of resolutions that are going to affect everybody here, our classrooms, our school system, our central office. They will be going to the General Assembly when they start meeting back in January. And I gave Tom a list of all of those resolutions, and if anybody would like to have a copy, then I will ask Gail to make copies for us. So that was another thing that was wonderful. And we had the most awesome keynote speakers, 3 in one convention that I have ever heard. And I'm going to ask Lisa if she will just talk about briefly Mr. Mike Rutherford, that she was so impressed with.
That was was it Stephen?
Peter. Pemberton. The keynote speaker?
That was the first one, the one that you heard. Yes, okay, I'm sorry.
Yes. And he was the gentleman who, he has written a book called A Chance in the World. And he was abused as a child and in several foster homes. I think, what did he say, 40-some foster homes.
Amazing.
It was unreal. and a statement had been made about him that he didn't have a chance in the world as a child, and he has become a self-made man, and he's at the chairman, corporate level, Walgreens. And he has a family, beautiful family. He has written a book which is being made into a movie, and I think there just about wasn't a dry eye in the conference when he was talking about his life and what he had gone through. I think his book is called A Chance in the World.
A Chance.
It's a simple book. It's simple. Yes.
Yeah.
The conference was Legacy, it's called Literacy, Legacy for Life. So what he was trying to instill in the places that he speaks and the people that he speaks to, and like trying for us to bring back to our school system, was literacy not only benefits you for what you do for the rest of your life, but it saved his life, because that was his escape, was through reading, and that's what he loved to do. That was his main thing that he loved to do in life, was to read. And so the people would punish him by taking his books and not letting him read, because they felt like since he loved that so much that was, they could punish him by doing that. And he said there was a lady in his community who would donate books to the foster home that he was in. He was in this foster home 13 years, Ms. Fay, is that correct?
I believe that's correct.
And the lady would drop the books off there because she knew that they had more foster children. But anyway, long story short, he read every book she dropped off. And he ended up meeting her before she passed away. He just wanted to thank her for, giving him the books and giving him a chance in the world. It was very, very moving.
He was talking about winning spelling bees. He won every spelling bee that ever came to his school, and that lady that came to his rescue that gave him a smile every time he got a word correct, she would smile, and they had her face up on the screen was totally awesome. Clint, was there anything you wanted to?
Yeah. Well, some of us got to attend which I thought was very interesting, the technical clinic with Apple. And I think we had a little bit too much fun seeing our director of schools on his knees trying to make a frog jump around, but then I joined in right behind him and did the same thing.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
It was a lot of fun. It was very interesting because they did have a lot of little robots and things that I think all of us agreed would be something good for us to start looking at, trying to incorporate in our schools for the technology, the advancement in technology for our kids to be able to do a lot of these things that are not just sitting with a pencil and paper, but learning different things, utilizing all the technology and the computers and the iPads and the little robots, and learning how to program things. It was very interesting. So,
Faye, there is one thing that I'd like to see happen. You're going to be president down there.
Okay.
They need to change that venue. That hotel's just too big.
It is big.
It's just too big.
Oh, my goodness.
That didn't mean nothing about Mr. Diner, because I joined right behind him. I watched it, and I got on there and tried to make the frog jump around, too.
It's just too big. I mean, you wear yourself out.
Well, we've talked about it in the board of directors many, many times, but it's hard to find a place in Nashville that would accommodate that many people. There's 950 to 1,000 school board members, and plus all of their families. And when they flooded and they had to move it to another place, it was almost a disaster. But I
you
understand
agree it's too big.
it is big. And Mike, you went to the leadership.
Yeah.
Do you want to share anything about that?
Very interesting. He was Mr. Rutherford too, wasn't he? That's the first speaker.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
I've got all that written down, but
Yeah, it was very interesting. It was a good meeting. I had to leave after his first day. My wife had a flu, had a temperature, and I had to bring her home. But I enjoyed it. Miss Crystal, do you have anything?
Actually, where are we at on the floor at Wynn?
At Wynn? The gym floor?
Advertising for bids.
I spoke to a lady at the conference in Nashville. She gave me her card. I'll give it to Larry tomorrow. she says that she's competitive with Prater. I don't know who gave us that estimate on that gym floor over there, but I think it was to a tune of, what, $82,000?
Something, $80.
Yeah, and we need to look at it, Crystal. It's just a lot of money. It needs to be done, but that's one of those capital projects that we're going to talk about next Thursday night. We're going to roll in it and roll it all together and just going to find $2 million.
Good luck with that.
And I would like to, it's not
Yeah, we all do. We look forward to it. Congratulations. We're glad you're here and look forward to working with you. And I remember when I first met you, you did the audits for the accounts, our general accounts and restricted accounts. And Miss Fay, she's still back there? She just loves you, so that's a good thing.
Mike, one other thing, I compiled all of the list of new policies that we've not approved yet, and I talked to Sharon tonight, and as soon as she gets back from a little trip, we're going to get together and go over these, because there's about 15 new policies that we need to adopt and get in our books.
Okay, we'll do. All right, so next Thursday. Yes.
I'm sorry, I had one more question to follow up on what Crystal said. Mr. Nyford, where are we at on the status for advertising for bids for the gym floor and also the cameras at Jacksboro Elementary as far as?
Well, Jack and I have been looking into camera systems, and interesting enough, Jacksboro Middle actually paid the #1 system for about $2,000. And that may be something we can kind of purchase and have our maintenance run the wiring and so on. But the gym floor is ready for bid, or when you guys meet on Thursday night, just start putting, we can look at our capital outlay money. If there's something out there that we want to do soon,
Be thinking the
we
project.
can run it through. But if it's something real big, then you guys can outline that.
Crystal, I would like for this company to come out and look at it, and she said that we're very competitive with Prater. I don't think it would hurt us to do that. As long as we hurry. That's right. Any other questions? Get a motion to adjourn? Thank you. Thank you all. Apologize for being late.